People, deluded. Southampton 3, Arsenal 2, and I told you about St Mary's, man. I told you about playing at their place. If you're an Arsenal fan, you know going into this game, this is a game where it is a must-win week. We need to keep in and amongst the pack going into the festive period, trying to get top 4. We've obviously, whether it's Yarabel Cup or not, we've obviously got Spurs, and our players are dropping like flies now, and we've still got our unbeaten thing to defend. So we need to win. Southampton, they're not in the best of forms. They've won today prior to beating us. They hadn't won in 14, so we know this is a side we should be beating. This is a side we should be making nervous. This is a side where we should be trying to silence the fans. But again, having said that, St Mary's specifically in the Premier League is not a happy place for Arsenal, and it happened again today. Going into the game, obviously because of what happened with Mustafi and Socrates, centre-halves, we had to do a bit of mix and match. I didn't feel we needed to play 3 at the back today, but Unai Emery's the gaffer, knows more football than all of us, so he went with 3 at the back. You saw Steiner, apologies, you saw Xhaka play at centre-half as well, and you obviously saw Koscielny return to the side. Oz was on the bench with Lacazette, Ramsey and Ed Ketia, so surprisingly it actually looked like a strong bench, probably one of the strongest benches I've seen Arsenal have this season. So yeah, obviously Southampton can call upon a lot of what I call street smart strikers, again like you saw today. Ings started, he's their top goal scorer, but he's been missing the last few games. So yeah, they can call upon some of their players. Going into the game, I wouldn't say we was on top, because Southampton, I felt they did a very, the new gaffer coming in, I don't want to say promising, because at the end of the day they need to just fight staying in the league, but from a tactical point of view, they were stopping us from playing out from the back. When we were doing it and it was successful, I felt it was too slow. Felt I needed a bit more from our midfielders in Torreira and Guendouzi in that regards. Yeah, they did a good job pressing us and forcing us in mistakes. But having said that, we had the lion's share of possession, I'd say, in the first 20. I'll get onto their goal. We weren't really creating any chances. Bellerin put a couple balls in the box. There was definitely a good ball Guendouzi put over the top for Aubameyang, but I think the keeper had done his thing. And Aubameyang initially, when he was getting onto Yoshida, you saw him pulling off to Yoshida. He's winning balls in the air. He's taking advantage of a lot of space in between the centre half. And that looked like that could be to our advantage. But I don't feel we're using the necessary qualities in possession. I feel we obviously are going to look more promising down the left hand side slightly than the right, purely because Monreal and Cole are better going forward than Bellerin. But we've got to do something, man. We need a winger. We looked too narrow. I was seeing a lot of 2v1 situations created by Southampton's players. Again, from the way they tactically set up, and especially with the midfielders in how they kind of outnumbered Xhaka and Torreira in that. I felt we needed to get onto the ball, but can they really if they're outnumbered? I felt their gaffer and their approach was actually very good, to be fair with you. Having said that, I felt it was a weird one for me, because I'm thinking, again, this is not fair enough. We do not win at Southampton in the league too often, but we need to put them under pressure. We need to silence the crowd, and the crowd are not being silenced in that regards. There's half chances for both sides, and all in all, I felt we deserved to be dominating the game, of sorts of try and get a goal in the first 20, but we got hit on the counter. It's kind of a poor goal from us. I think it was a Steiner, apologies again, a throw-in. Eventually it landed to their keeper McCarthy. He boots it up. There's a couple of times we're second best to the ball. We're not winning headers, we're second and thirds. Obviously it's a lovely ball from, I can't even remember whoever played it out to target. There's several things wrong with when it's gone out to target. Bellerin's in position, alright, cool, he's a right back, he's essentially the closest to the ball. I felt you've got to stop the cross. Target's got a good whipped cross on him. They've got street strikers that are very good at leaving their men. We'll get onto that as well. But he's failing to cross the ball. Stop the cross. Mkhitaryan's out of position. I didn't even think Monreal initially was going forward a bit too much. We needed him to be an outlet, but considering Xhaka at centre half, you could see gaps that Redmond was exploiting, and Redmond looked like he was the man to create stuff throughout it prior to this goal. Anyways, people, innit? Redmond looked like the one that would make something happen for them. He had a lot of joy coming off the channels. But back to the goal, like I said, Bellerin's not stopping the cross. Mkhitaryan's out of position. And what's upsetting for me, I'll discount a lot, because Koscielny is his first, obviously he got 70 minutes or so in the week, but he's just come back from a mad injury, innit? Passing and them things there, Koscielny was at it, but why is he not going with his head? What obviously I'm not at the game, I'm watching it on Sky. I paused the thing and rewinded it, and I watched it several times, and what's annoying with Koscielny, you can't discount experience. He sees it. He looks twice at Ings. He looks at him, and then he's not there. And if you're gonna do that, you need to make sure you're gonna win the ball. He doesn't do that. I can't understand why. Again, it's difficult and it's easy in hindsight to sit here and say this, but I can't understand why Koscielny doesn't go with his head. He's trying to kick it. If he goes with his head, it's probably avoided. But credit to Ings, it's lovely movement. He got in behind our centre halves, in between them, sorry, and is able to exploit that. And Southampton, they're laughing. Like I said, they haven't been in good form, home and away. They've been conceding goals. They've not really been scoring, and they probably would have thought, regardless of the stats, what stats might say, Arsenal coming to our place might stress them. They're 1-0. They're 1-0 ahead at this point in time, man. But other than that, like, you can't say you could say we don't deserve to be behind, but on the grand scheme of things, we've rid our luck, and I've told you lot this, and a lot of negative comments is in my video comment section quite a few on an often occasion. But I told you, lot, I feel we ride our luck too much. We've rid our luck. We've scored goals, and we've done all of these things, and we've got away with it. We didn't get away with it today. It's been a fantastic 22-game run unbeaten, but this is what happens when you don't do certain things. We're playing out from the back. It's working at times, but when it is working, it's too slow. It's too slow. The midfielders aren't showing for the ball, and they're being outnumbered anyways. And I felt to a degree it makes no sense, but our attack was saving us. But yeah, an annoying thing as well. I rewinded it. I'm so sure it was about six. It was about 6 passes that led to their Southampton's goal. But it's a lovely bit of play from them essentially, man. I'm so rattled. I can't remember if we went into the... Yeah, we did go into the break at 1-1 essentially. Well, it was 2-1. So yeah, 20 minutes into the game or so, they've gone ahead, whether they deserve it or not. Shortly after, I feel Iwobi and Mkhitaryan, I felt they were both candidates to probably get subbed in the game, to be honest, and I'm going to watch it again. But Iwobi done, I think anyways, he done very well, regardless of how I feel he played. He done very well in the initial build-up to the goal. I think he... took it off Xhaka. Xhaka played it into him, and then he plays a good ball into Monreal, slightly overhit. Monreal does very well to keep it alive, puts it into the box, and Mkhitaryan, who's not been playing well in my opinion, credit where due, he rises to the header. We're 1-1, we're back in this essentially, and there were stages, and even in the second half, where we looked like, alright, cool, we're going to build on this now. Southampton kind of looked nervy. We're going through, they had passages of flurry of half chances as well, but there was chances where we're getting in behind. We're doing nice little dummies and things like that, and it's looking like we're going to do something. And it looked like we're both going to go into half-time at 1-1, but this is why concentration is so important. Danny Ings sets up his own goal. Again, from an Arsenal point of view, I'm absolutely livid because you can see the defensive errors. We've conceded 3 different sort of crosses today, but easily avoidable goals essentially. And to be fair, this is actually the one goal where I can say we're actually doing all right in terms of positional wise. Like, nobody's not really out of position. Ings starts to move. I think he initially plays it to someone, and eventually it finds its way at Redmond. At this point, I started watching Ings' movement solely because I saw what he was going to do. And I looked at Koscielny again. Again, he gets in between. I mean, the ball goes to Redmond, and he gets in between our centre half, specifically Koscielny, and I think it's Lichtsteiner as well. Now, my criticism of both of them is, regardless of form and pace and all of these things, they're 2 of the most experienced players, specifically defenders, specific to our away form that's been a problem season on season, and this isn't a good place for us. They have to talk to each other. They fail to talk to each other. Ings takes advantage. 2 minutes or so before half-time is 2-1 at this point, and I'm sure Emery had to rip up his half-time schedule several times, but he has to rip it up again. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. Whatever we take at half-time, we need to take a double of it. Whatever we put in our drinks. The one benefit, it does feel like we can score a couple goals. Obviously, we're behind at this point, but I am feeling like we can score. Second half, I feel it started off all right for us, to be fair with you. I think we pressed them well. I think Aubameyang had a half chance very early on in the second half where he really should have pulled it away. Obviously, 10 minutes or so after that, we then get back into the game. Lacazette's on the pitch at this moment in time for Bellerin. Fingers crossed he's not injured. But Lacazette, I think it's Lacazette and Guendouzi. They're just simply pressing the centre midfield, of Southampton. Southampton, there was periods in the game, especially in the second half. But I'd say last 20 they got out of it, but they looked a bit nervous. We were on top of them. It looked like we were going to get something out of the game, sort of thing. But they rid their luck. Romero's caught in possession. Eventually, it's a scruffy goal. Eventually, Lacazette does very well to play it to Mkhitaryan, and it takes a deflection of someone else, and Vestergaard. And one criticism I will say is Vestergaard. He's obviously got this deflection. I felt he could have done better from a Southampton point of view for Mkhitaryan's goal. But at this moment, it's 2-2. It's 2-2 for us, man. So yeah, we're doing our thing. It's 2-2, like I said. The sad thing is now, when you fail to take your chances, we're having half chances. Lacazette had a half chance. Ozil's come on the pitch and playing some nice passes, and then he starts to switch off. But you've got to take your chances, and this is where sides that are not in form, this is why early on from the first 10 minutes, you have to create chances. You have to pile on pressure, because if you give their fans any sort of encouragement, you walk away with no points like we did today. The Southampton fans carried their players. I won't lie, credit to the Southampton players as well, especially Redmond, because they pressed, they fought, whether they're playing for their futures, the fans, or the new manager, something was working in it. And I felt they deserved their goal to, like I said, I felt we could have scored, but I felt a large part they deserved their goal. It's what, the 74th minute or something, not the 74th minute, that's another opportunity. I'm sure in the 74th minute, Leno made a good save and Shane Long was ruled out for offside, but even Shane Long's causing us issues. The last goal, I can't remember who actually plays in the ball, but Charlie Austin rises to it, and I will criticise Leno. I think Monreal, if I remember it, I'll have to watch the game again, but Monreal really, again, he's out of position. Not just him, the whole defence, the whole midfield were caught. It's on the run of play. Both teams are hitting each other on the break. We got caught. Nobody stops the cross, but really I have to pin the blame at Leno, because again, you're experienced enough, and they're just, I don't know, I tweeted this as well. I like Leno. I think he's been good, but he has this false sort of increased, I don't want to say arrogance, but obviously as a keeper you've got to be confident, but it's borderline just cockiness, just like, it really rubs me up the wrong way at times, and it leads to things like this. If you got to collect that cross, again, in hindsight it's easy to sit here and say that, but you have to collect that cross. If you're going to come from a cross, and it's been an issue, I wasn't watching Leno consistently in Bundesliga, but the people I spoke to that did, they said that's one of his issues, and he's let us down on occasion like this as well. He actually made some good saves, I'll be fair to him, but you've got to collect the cross. If you're going to come. If you're going to stay. You can't do what he did. He does what he does. It's one of the softest headers and probably softest goals against Charlie Austin will score against us, and Charlie Austin loves scoring against us. I mean, him, Shane Long, and now, well, Danny Ings, they all like terrorising us. So, yeah, it's 3-2 at this moment in time. We had some half chances towards the death, but we walk away essentially with nothing. So, for me anyways, people, well, it is not even to me, it's a fact. It's 3 points dropped. It is what it is. I mean, we had 22 games unbeaten, but this is what happens when you run behind headlines and just pretend the sun's shining. We've rid our luck on occasion. Our late flurries of goals and attackers scoring goals has really saved us game in, game out, and the luck is running out to a degree. The only silver lining in this, people, is that, if there is one, is that at least Southampton are the ones to end this unbeaten thing. Imagine it was midweek, Carling Cup or not, against Spurs. It would be all hell. So we hold our L, and another silver lining is that Torreira's eligible to play in that game. He never got a yellow, but for me, ultimately, we didn't take our chances. I felt our build-up play from start to finish was kind of poor throughout, and when it did work, it was too slow. So our plan B needs to be developed big time for me. Just small individual errors that really cost us all 3 goals. Like, Southampton created their chances, and from Southampton, specifically their strikers' point of view, it's good goals scored by them, but I just felt 3 easily avoidable goals, and these are the sort of things that delays us from advancing. Apologies, people. Yeah, half-time thoughts. Obviously, I've already spoken about Matteo and Torreira. They could have done more offensively, but I felt they actually both switched off for one of the goals as well. We're giving too much space to Southampton. I felt we was allowing their midfielders a bit too much space, and at times probably just respecting them a bit too much, allowing them to showcase what they can do on the ball. I felt for its worth from Southampton, I felt, like I said, man to a man, committed performance, man. Højbjerg, obviously Romeo had the error for the goal, but man to a man, Ings probably the man of the match for them, but it's a good result. I feel tactically, Unai Emery got it wrong today. Just like Palace to a degree for me, if I remember right off the top of my head. I feel he got it wrong today. I felt there's no need to go into it this defensive. Obviously, he was, again, it's easy to sit in hindsight, and he was pushed because of defensive options, but I felt that we really could have went 4 at the back today. Really think substitutions could have happened earlier. Maitland-Niles didn't have the best games when he came on as well. I felt we could have been a bit more offensive with that substitution. Obviously, it would have left us a bit light, but yeah, I feel Unai Emery really got the tactics wrong today. The only thing he probably got about right is Lacazette coming onto the field, to be fair with you. I know Iwobi was involved in the goal, and at the end of the day, Mkhitaryan got 2 goals, and they can save some face from that. But at the end of the day, we need to get more from our wide positions, because especially down our right hand side, when it's Bellerin, he goes forward to his degree and he puts decent balls in, but there's not enough. We're not seeing enough offensive outplay from our right hand side. And Mkhitaryan is obviously, he does not want to play out wide. He wants to be the hub of the team. He's coming inside a lot, and is creating too many 2v1 situations again, like what Southampton were able to exploit for Target's goal. But yeah, man, it's a kick in the teeth. United, if they get, I know they're a couple points off us, but if they get a good result against Liverpool, they're putting pressure on us. It's 2 points dropped. Spurs are making ground. Chelsea won today as well. So in the grand scheme of things, in regards to the top four, yeah, man, we have to hold the L today. It is what it is. On that note, people, yeah, man, we have to just hold our L. There's not much more to say on that front. So yeah, deluded, comment, subscribe, and do the rest. I'm out.